This is the Play Your Position podcast, where we huddle up, call the plays, and inspire you to run your ball into the end zone. Are you ready to score more game-winning touchdowns in your life, business, and career? Then listen up, because it's game time, baby. Now, here's your host, Mary Lou Kaiser.
Hello, Team PYP. Mary Lou Kaiser here. Welcome to the Play Your Position podcast, where I talk about things that are relevant to developing and maintaining a leadership practice. I also interview incredible guests from all over the world. Today, I am doing a solo episode, and I'll give you a little hint. It's in the title. Artificial intelligence is not the problem, and I'm going to get into more detail about what I mean by that. But first, I wanted to let you know about a really amazing workshop that I am leading starting in a couple of weeks as of this recording, May 19th. So if you're listening to this after May 19th, 2023, it's called Inspire, Impact, Lead, a workshop on building your living legacy. And it is a program I've designed for mid to senior level professionals who have answered the call to leadership and are thinking about leaving a meaningful legacy, but more importantly, creating a living legacy, something that you can enjoy while you're still here. So if you want to learn more about this amazing workshop, head on over to maryloukaiser.com. And you will see right at the top of the page a button that says Learn More Here. I will put a link in the show notes page. This is going to be a really dynamic workshop. I've already been getting amazing feedback and people who are saying yes. Space is limited to 15 participants. So if you're seriously interested in learning about building a meaningful living legacy based on your professional experiences, your wisdom, your insights, your industry knowledge, all that good stuff, head on over to my sister's site, maryloukaiser.com, and the big, bright, beautiful orange button at the top of the page will take you there. Okay, so let's get into today's topic of conversation, which is artificial intelligence. Specifically, I'm talking about writing programs like Chat GPT, which I've talked about a couple of times on this show. Jasper AI is another one. There's a whole slew of artificial intelligence tools flooding the marketplace. And young people, meaning kids in school, particularly high school and college, have been going crazy for the writing AI because they can sit down and give it a prompt and it spits back a 5-paragraph essay or a 3-page exploration of, Romeo and Juliet or whatever it may be. And you may be a parent of one of these kinds of students. You may be interacting with artificial intelligence in a number of ways with your kids or perhaps at your workplace. And I just got off the phone a little while ago with a dear friend who has a son who's in high school. He's 16. He's a sophomore he's a junior. He's a junior. And he was showing her how he's writing papers for his English class using artificial intelligence. And I thought, okay, well, of course, tools come along. Why wouldn't you use them? The challenge is for students is one, there's a growing number of school districts who are banning access to these tools. Now, that doesn't mean that kids aren't going to find ways around that. It's the classic cat and mouse game that's been going on for decades. But I think my bigger point here, where AI is not the problem, one of the problems is the school system is so far behind in terms of what it's asking students to do in order to demonstrate their capacity. There's still a lot of teaching to the test. There's still a lot of standardization that's going on. My nephew is graduating from high school in June, and I've been a witness now for a couple of years to his journey. And I think to myself, when I hear him talking about his classes, man, it sounds like when I was in high school. So many of the same traditions continue, and I'm not against those. I'm talking about things like prom and homecoming and pep rallies and stuff like that. I think those things are good, and provide structure. And as far as the academics go, I'm just and you have to remember, I'm a former public school teacher. I'm a former college professor. So I was inside these systems, and it just blows my mind that here we are in 2023 and we've got these massive advancements in technology that are allowing people to get things done in rapid time, and it frees up our time to pursue other things. Like if you're an entrepreneur, you can build your business. You don't have to spend hours agonizing over developing copy or content ideas for your blog or your podcast, or ideas for new products and services. I mean, artificial intelligence is absolutely phenomenal about what it can do. However, it is limited by the fact that it is a tool, and every tool requires someone to use it. And that someone better have some critical thinking skills in place so that you don't just take things blindly and say, oh, this is it. And I'm afraid that that is happening. And I hear stories, I read stories about the counter efforts to take copy and put it through a program to see, is this plagiarized? Was this generated 100% by artificial intelligence? And people are being punished for that. They're being punished by having their work, you can't publish that here, or in schools, teachers are saying, you didn't do this. This is not your thinking. So, it's, again, it's that cat and mouse game. There's always going to be an effect to the cause, right? Which then becomes a new cause and then a new effect, and so on and so forth. So my overarching point here today is I think we'd be wise to ask the big questions about new tools like Chat GPT as they come into our sphere, and say, how can we use these for good, and what are their limitations? And instead of being afraid of them, instead of being so quick to shun them or ban them, find out how they can work with us, right? How we can use them properly. Again, I'm not actively in the public school system right now, so I don't know what kinds of conversations are going on in the lunchroom or at faculty meetings or in the classroom. I'm basing what I'm saying here about public schools off of articles that I've read, and then boots on the ground students who are actually in school experiencing these things on a daily basis. So that the first big problem that we need to look at is, what are we doing in our educational system, and where, we know there's a lot of room for improvement and innovation and creativity. And we also know that public ed in America is an enormous battleship that is not going to turn very quickly. There's so much red tape, there's so much bureaucracy that it takes creativity, again, on the front line by teachers who are willing to spend time to learn about these tools and have conversations with their students and talk about the larger picture. Okay. The second thing that we need to be thinking about, as far as AI is not the problem, is what I was just talking about related to critical thinking. That's where we really need to be focusing more attention, so that when tools like this do come along, there isn't just this knee-jerk response that, oh, it's bad. Oh, it's going to ruin our jobs. I mean, as of this recording, the Writers Guild of America is on strike, and one of their issues is fear that artificial intelligence is going to replace their jobs. And it's a legitimate fear because it's new and we do not understand what the long range effects of introducing open source AI is going to be. We just don't. All we can do is keep moving forward each day. So when I see the picket lines and I hear the interviews with writers, they're saying, am I going to be obsolete? And my experience is playing with AI for the last few months, since November of 2022, when ChatGPT came out on the scene, which was really it's really the first big wave, right? Because this machine learning is just, it's unlike anything else that has come along. I realized pretty quickly that this machine, this thing, this bot, needs me to guide it. It needs me to interpret what it gives back to me. I can't just take it at face value. So for people who work for network television or writers in Hollywood or any of the, Netflix, the streaming channels, well, that's a whole nother thing. Is streaming is really eaten into revenue for writers. That's a different topic for a different day. But the fact is, if they can learn how to use AI to speed up their writing process, that's an exciting thing, because it means they could create even more content, right? Which can make them more valuable. So I think what we need to do is take a deep breath and relax a little bit about what's going on with AI and realize that the tools are not the problem. As usual, the problem is staring back and at us in the mirror each morning. It's like, it's our mindset, it's our attitude, it's our ignorance, it's our inability to deal with the massive amounts of change that are going on all at the same time. And that is a problem in and of itself, which is why we need each other, which is why I continue to show up to the mic like I am today and with guests, because if we can hear from someone else, a voice in the wilderness who can talk us down from the ledge, right? Who can say, oh, it's going to be fine. We just have a lot of things to figure out. And are we going to make mistakes along the way? Yes. Is there going to be, some metaphorical roadkill along the way? Absolutely. That's a side effect of change, especially sweeping change, massive change that is beyond our human brain's ability to process and make sense. But I have faith in humanity. I have for all my life. I was raised by two people who modeled that for me. And I know a lot of you, Team PYP, are the same, that you, at the end of the day, want to believe in the goodness of humans, that the negativity that we just get bombarded with all the time is a narrative created by people with an agenda to sell us more products, by people who are looking solely at an economic model. And we can solve some of these problems. We can sit down with our children, with young people in our communities. We can have conversations with each other that help sift and sort through the concerns. And if we listen to each other and we have conversations about what's going on and we gain insights from other people's experiences, that leads to forward progress. That's what leadership is all about. And it is hard. Being a leader is hard. Being a leader of your own life is hard, let alone if you're leading any kind of team, if you're leading a family, if you're leading clients through some kind of experience. And I know people who are healers and healthcare providers, they are leading people through processes about their health that are not easy. I know business owners who are facing these, again, sweeping changes with the introduction of AI, and they're having to make decisions quickly. And so they would like more time, but they can't. So I guess my big message here, what I will leave you with is always remember to grant yourself some grace, that problems are solvable, that you've already got answers within you. You may not have them at the ready now, but trust yourself, they're there because you are committed to playing your position. You're committed to your path, and you're choosing your team to move forward with you. You're choosing them deliberately. You're choosing them intentionally. And anybody that doesn't fit the criteria that you need to be the leader that you are, they don't get to go on that journey with you. And that's okay. You don't need a lot. You only need those few select who've got your back, who are there for you in different capacities. You can count on them and they can count on you. So AI is not the problem, team. It is not the problem. We can ask better questions, bigger questions to help solve the problems that are emerging from the introduction of AI. But let's not blame the tool. Let's look at ourselves first and say, what can we do so that we learn the ways that these tools can benefit us instead of allowing fear and not knowing to drive our decisions. That's it for today. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Play Your Position podcast. Remember, team, it is always a great day to get out there and play your position. This is Mary Lou Kaiser. We'll see you next time.
Here at the Play Your Position podcast, we believe that the road to self-mastery and a life well lived starts with answering the call to leadership. That's when the fun really begins. Send this episode to any friends who might need to hear the inspiration and ideas you heard today. And feel free to rate and review us on your favorite podcast platform.